Welcome to Theezy Under Grace, bringing faith, hope, and the love of Christ to everyone. I'm your host, Teresa, otherwise known as Theezy. Hey, it's been a while, right? I've missed y'all so much. I pray that everyone is doing well and that you're doing the best you can these days. I also pray you and your families are taking every precaution to stay safe, as this is far from over. I know, you're getting tired of it. You have cabin fever, you're tired of wearing a mask, you're tired of staying in, but trust me, it's for your own safety. I, too, am dealing with the same thing, but hey, we're in this together. If this is your first time listening to the Theezy Under Grace podcast, I'd love to welcome you. Please take a moment to also listen to the other previous 13 episodes just to learn a little more about me and this podcast. Also to check out some episodes titled Trusting the Process, Following Instructions, Worthiness, Church Hurt, For Your Good, and Perseverance, just to name a few. The Theezy Under Grace podcast is available on 13 platforms. It's available on Apple Podcasts or iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Anchor, Breaker, Stitcher, Castbox, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Overcast, and YouTube. Just download any of these apps or head to their respective websites, listen, subscribe, and share. Please make sure you follow the Theezy Under Grace podcast Instagram page, which is the handle at Theezy Under Grace all together, to stay current with the podcast updates and alerts. You can also connect with me on my other social media accounts. Just head to my website, theezysvoyage.com, and you'll find all of the links there. So this week's episode is titled Under Pressure, and I think it's quite a relevant topic to talk about these days as we're faced with all types of pressure. Pressure to stay safe and follow protocols, pressure to remain positive when the world is changing around us, pressure to be a great friend, parent, or employee, pressure to be who or what the world says we should be, pressure to be an upstanding citizen, pressure to be a perfect Christian. Oh wait, that doesn't exist. I should say we should be pressured to be more like Christ every day, which is what you should be striving to do. But, hey, you get the gist of where I'm going with this. I'm going to talk about one particular pressure that I've been dealing with lately, and we're going to discuss the best way to handle pressure, as all pressure is not bad. It can also be good, depending upon how you react to it. So, let's dive in. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. For one, it's free. Secondly, they have all the creation tools you need that will allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. So where do I begin? The last podcast episode and blog post was in the month of May, and I must say, it's been a heavy past 2 months. I took some time away from social media, my blog and podcast, to regain my focus as I was having a difficult time seeing and hearing everything that's happening in the world right now. You guys know how I already feel about social media. Well, you may or may not, but that I'm known to take a hiatus from time to time. This time, I demanded myself to log out of all social media apps and get myself together emotionally and spiritually. After meeting up with some of my friends within the last couple of weeks, I've learned to know that I'm not the only one that's been in a funk lately, and it was great that we all can motivate and inspire each other to get back at it. I'm so grateful for the circle of friends the Lord has placed in my life, and I do not take it for granted at all. People everywhere are going through their own emotional struggles and battles, whether it's with themselves or friends or loved ones. Oh yeah, not failing to mention the country we live in is also going through some radical changes. I get it. We all are going through something right now, whether it is you personally trying to cope with the new norm of things, or you seeing or hearing your friends or family trying to cope with their own life issues. And everything seems to be going every way but right. You just find yourself trying to make the best of everything the best way you can. I've been going through some heaviness these past couple of months, and God had to pull me out of the rabbit hole of where I was heading. Being a blogger and podcaster, one of my biggest pressures is to post consistently on social media. This is something that I really struggle with, as I really don't care for social media. I'm really an introvert. Yes, believe it or not, I am an introvert. And if it wasn't for this podcast or blog, I actually probably wouldn't be on social media at all, as I like living life without all of that. Now, I don't care to be on social media as an influencer, as I get plenty of messages and emails about ways to improve my social media presence, blah, blah, blah. But that's not just my thing, or that's really not my desire or purpose. Yeah, I may get on there and scroll and even post a selfie or a pic every now and then, but that's just to engage with others, in which I've made some pretty great connections with along the way, and some have even been divine connections that have helped me immensely. I just want to maybe log on, maybe once in a blue moon, if that, and that's it. However, I know that's not how it goes, so I'll try not to let too much time go by before I post again. Speaking with other bloggers or podcasters I've connected with, or maybe even entrepreneurs, friends, or family, they often echo my same feelings about social media. Now, to be clear, this is no judgment or no anything towards anyone or those who love social media, as there are a lot of great benefits to it. I'm just personally speaking that it isn't really my thing, nor has it ever been. It's so hard at times forcing yourself to post to ensure people know about your new content, or that your blog or podcast still exists, or maybe your service or your product, if I'm speaking from the terms of generally speaking, should I say. But I know that I must break out of my selfishness, as this blog and podcast is not about me, nor is it ever about me. It's about helping others through sharing my experience and whatever the Lord guides me to share. Again, I have to remind myself, it's not about me. There's a greater purpose, and I'm reminded of that each time I receive a message, an email, a call, or a text of someone asking me, when's the next podcast episode? When's the next blog post? Or ask if I've even given up on working out, as I haven't posted a pic of myself lately, as it helps motivate them to work out and keep at it. Within the last few months and just this week, I've received a few collaboration requests, which are quite meaningful, to be a guest blogger and podcaster. I say meaningful as I'm often bombarded with collaboration requests and they don't align with what I'm doing or what I believe in doing, so I often decline them. So I would say over the past few weeks, and I will say within the last day or so, I've actually received some meaningful collaboration requests, in which I'm very grateful for the opportunity for. Well, basically, I've just say all of that to say that God will send you reminders just when you feel like giving up or when you're feeling discouraged. And from the recent reminders I just mentioned, or from walking away motivated and enthused after chatting with those God has placed in my path, is when I just say to myself, okay, Teresa, snap out of it. You have work to do. Whether you believe it or not, people are reading your blog. People are listening to your podcast. You're motivating people without you even thinking twice about it. Let's get back to it. Now, I may or may not end up saying that very thing to myself again in the future. And if I do, I pray it's from a place of growth, not from me giving up. Can I look at this pressure of being consistent from a different standpoint instead of my own way, which is not really wanting to do it at all? How can I focus on my reaction to the pressure instead of focusing on the pressure itself? Let's dig in and talk about this. It's not about the pressure, nor has it ever been. It's about how you respond to it. That quote is from Pastor Lionel of Uplift Christian Ministries, which is my pastor. Great quote, Pastor. Pressure. Let's talk about it. We're all under pressure these days to do something, say something, or be something. Whether it's following safety protocols to keep you and others safe from COVID-19, whether it's to act or speak out against social injustice or systemic racism, or to be who society tells you who and what you should be through seemingly influential social or political advertising, agendas, and portrayals through the news, social media, TV shows, movies, and etc. Hey, don't do this, but do that. Oh, wait, don't do that any longer as it's not effective, but do this instead. Wait, you have to do this every day in order to be this, and if you don't, you'll never succeed. Don't talk about a post about that. But talk about and post about this instead to gain popularity and success. Don't eat that, eat this to be healthier. Oh wait, that's no longer healthy. Eat this instead. You must wake up every day with making more money on your mind. Otherwise, you're failing yourself in your future. Don't do this. It's not what everyone is doing or paying attention to right now. So no one will listen, watch, or read about what you're doing or have to say. Wearing, saying, or doing this is the in thing and the new trend right now. So don't be a lame. Join in. You must be married by this age or something is wrong with you. You must be crazy or something. Oh, you don't have any kids and you're how old? What are you waiting on? Don't wait too late or you won't be able to have any. Although I'm just generally speaking by mentioning these things, they are what most of us hear, see, think, and feel pressure to abide by or deal with. Me personally, some of them. Pressure. Is it really about doing, saying, or being something, or is it truly about how you choose to deal with it? Have you truly sat and thought about your reactions to the pressures you've faced in the past or are currently dealing with? Have your reactions to pressure caused more challenges than successful outcomes? Are your reactions to pressure all about you instead of focusing on the effects of others? Are you allowing pressure to cause you to quit? Are you allowing pressure to cause you to be hard on yourself? Are you allowing pressure to cause you to do and say things out of fear of not being liked or loved? I want you to truly think about how you're choosing to handle the pressures of life and circumstances. Oh, let's not forget the other side of pressure, as pressure is not always bad. Pressure can be the very thing that pushes you into what you've been called to do and be in life. Pressure can cause some much needed change for the greater good. Pressure can push you out of complacency. Pressure can birth some great ideas that can help others in ways you've never thought of. Pressure can also cause divine connections. Pressure can drive you right into the arms of God. Again, I'll ask, how are you choosing to react to the pressures you're faced with? My pastor taught a sermon a few weeks ago on handling pressure. I'll include the info at the end of the link to watch, or basically I'll include the info, which is the link to watch and or listen to the sermon. It's a really great sermon. And it's just what I needed as I've been in a funk lately, and I just felt so unmotivated, so uninspired, and even discouraged. In the book of James, chapter 1, verses 2 through 8, the Message version, the writer wrote about faith under pressure in these verses. It says, "Consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. You know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and it shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so you become mature and well-developed, not deficient in any way." Okay, let's stop for a moment. Now, I'm not sure about you, but when I first read this, it was like a wake-up call for me, as I have thought about giving up countless times on many things that I were dealing with, whether I was creating or doing them. I have said to myself, what did I get myself into? This is too hard. I'm going to chill on that and just try something else. Anyone else said the same things to themselves? Okay, I'll just raise my hand, as I am quite guilty of this. If you ever needed a reminder to keep going, this is it. Read those verses again. Let's keep going in the first chapter in the book of James, starting with verse 5. It says, "If you don't know what you're doing, pray to the Father. He loves to help. You'll get his help. You won't be condescended to when you ask for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought. People who worry their prayers are like winded whipped waves. Don't think you're going to get anything from the master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all of your options open." Okay, let's stop again and talk about these verses for a second. Verse 5 clearly states that all we have to do is to ask the Lord for help. How often do we forget to do that? Okay, I know you may have been turned away or judged for asking for help from people before, but this verse says it all right here. All you have to do is ask the Lord for help boldly, believing, and without a second thought. There's no need to ask and worry about how or when it's going to happen. Yeah, I know it's easier said than done. There's no need to keep your options open, so to speak, which is kind of like we all do. I know me personally, I like to have a plan A, B, C, and D. But again, this scripture points out that there's no need to keep your options open. meaning having backup plans just in case the Lord don't come through like you think he's supposed to. Okay, I just really stepped on my own toes with that one. Lord, help us all with that. Let's skip to verse 12. I'm still in the book of James, chapter 1, but we're going to skip to verse 12 and read to verse 18. Now, verses 9 through 11 are actually pretty great, but I want to talk about them in another podcast episode or blog post. So verse 12, again, book of James, chapter 1, verse 12 reads, anyone who meets a testing challenge head on, which are some pressures that we face, and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, the reward is life and more life. Don't let anyone under pressure to give in to evil say God is trying to trip me up, or some versions may read God is tempting me. God is impervious to evil and puts evil in no one's way. The temptation to give in to evil comes from us and only us. We have no one to blame but the leering, seducing flare-up of our own lust. Lust gets pregnant and has a baby, which is sin. Sin grows up to adulthood and becomes a real killer. So my very dear friends, don't get thrown off course. Every desirable and beneficial gift comes out of heaven. The gifts are rivers of light cascading down from the Father of light. There is nothing deceitful in God, nothing two-faced, nothing fickle. He brought us to life using the true word, showing us off as the crown of all his creatures. So in other words, guys, don't give up. You must persevere, as the reward for sticking it out through all of the hardships is much greater. So when you're faced with pressure, don't be deceived by things that appear to be God or to be God talking or moving on your behalf, as Satan tempts and God tests. So truly think about if you're giving in to temptation, which can often be the pressures you're facing, which is birthed out of your own desires, which can eventually lead to death, which is sin. Or are you truly sticking it out with the help of the Lord, which will cause you to be wiser, mature, and better than you were before? Take a moment to reflect on all of this for a moment. I know I certainly am. My friends, don't let pressure cause you to give up or give in. If you do throw in the towel, not only will you suffer and miss out on the wonderful things that will be birthed through the process, but the very people you are supposed to help through your experience or testimony would not have a chance to be helped because you gave up too soon. I know it's hard, but keep going. Don't let pressure defeat you. Let it strengthen you. Don't let pressure make you feel as if you have to talk, look, or act a certain way to be accepted, loved, heard, or successful. As long as you allow God to lead and guide you, you'll never go wrong and you'll surpass even your own expectations and more. Don't let pressure talk you out of what you know the Lord has called you to do. No matter what, God chose you to do that very thing he has called you to do and has already carved out your specific path to follow and no one else's path. He's equipped you with everything you need. Just trust him and trust the process. Stay on your own path. Don't be distracted by if other people are already doing the very thing he has called you to do. Your audience and your results are not destined to be the exact same as anyone else's. You're unique and you're distinctive, just like a fingerprint. We all have them, but no two are alike. Stay focused. It's not a competition. There's room for everyone's gifts. Just make sure you're utilizing those gifts according to his will, his way, his glory, or it won't be effective for his purpose. Again, he's already carved out your path for your calling. Stay focused. Trust him every step of the way and be fruitful in it. Change how you look at pressure. Instead of focusing on the pressure you may encounter, redirect your focus on your reaction to it. Your reaction can either help or strengthen you, just as described in the scriptures, or it can lead you down a path of trying to recover the damage and lost time you've caused by choosing to react to it by doing things your own way instead of letting the Lord guide you. Take some time this week to reflect on the scriptures we've read, which is from the book of James, chapter 1, verses 5 through 8, and also verses 12 through 18. And I read the Message version. I do want to point that out. And basically just take some time to reflect on those scriptures and how you can focus on your reaction to pressure instead of pressure itself. I promise you, if you take the time to do this, you'll have a more positive outlook regarding pressures you may face. As I always suggest, talk to God. He's listening. You don't need a long, elaborate prayer. Just talk to Him. He will provide everything you need to get through every and anything in life. You've got this. We've got this. We're in this together. Excuse me. So again, please don't give up, guys. We're in this together. Let's stay connected, guys. Head over to theezysvoyage.com, which is TheeZys, V as in Victor, OYAGE.com, and you'll see all of the ways you can contact me as well as all of my social media links. Also, if you don't have a church service to stream, I'd like to invite you to join me and live stream Uplift Christian Ministries on Sundays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and also New Vision Church with Pastors James and Kim McLean. They're my mentors and family. They live stream starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just go to Facebook, type in Uplift Christian Ministries, and also type in New Vision Church. It is NUVISION Church, and actually just like the page. If you don't have Facebook, you could go to upliftmin.org. That's upliftmin.org, and you can connect there and see the live stream there. Also, you could go to newvision.church. That's NUVISION.church to also stream the church service at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sundays as well. Or if you don't want to go to those websites, you can simply just go to YouTube. If you're a YouTube person like me, just go to YouTube. You could just search for both churches, which is Uplift Christian Ministries, and New Vision Church, which is NUVISION. You'll find their live streams there. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to make sure you can view all of those church services, past and present. Also, I am going to post you'll also find the link to the sermon that I just mentioned that my pastor preached or taught on several weeks ago, which is called Handling Pressure. Very great sermon, which actually I know it was no one but the Lord, because I was already constructing the outline for this podcast and also the blog post before he even taught on that subject. So I knew it was God. So take time to visit Uplift Christian Ministries, their website, or either on Facebook or YouTube. You'll find that sermon. It's called Handling Pressure. Again, make sure you do like, subscribe those church pages, and also share them with your family and friends as well. I am always blessed by watching those two church services. There are my family, not only my church family, but my true friends. So I thank God for each and every one of them. Also, don't forget to share these the blogcast and the podcast and the blog page, not blogcast. Sheesh, that's a new word, right? Don't forget to share the blog and the podcast page on Instagram and also on YouTube with your family and friends as well. I just want to appreciate you guys. I really thank you for sticking with me, for staying with me even through my hiatus, and just allowing me to take some time away to grow spiritually more than anything, to be strengthened, to bring you podcast episodes, and to bring you new blog posts. And I already see God's hand has been working in a lot of ways, especially with the collaboration requests that I've received more recently, within the last couple of days, to be honest. So I want to thank God for that He's been faithful regardless of how I've been, but He's always faithful. And just remember that God is faithful, guys. He is faithful. I do want to thank you for just sticking it out with me. Thank you for your encouraging texts, your messages you send me on social media when I am logged in and checking them. Thank you so much for just reaching out to me, even through my website, just to contact me to say, hey, keep going. I appreciate, the blog posts. I appreciate the podcast episodes. Because again, writing these blog posts and recording these podcast episodes, it takes a lot when you're pouring into people, especially when you want to open up and be so transparent with the hopes of that it will help someone. It takes a lot of praying, a lot of studying, and it does take a lot out of you sometimes. So you have to get replenished a lot. So I just want to thank you guys for just being so patient and just sticking it out with me. I hope and pray that you guys are doing quite well. Continue to do well. Continue to reach out to me. A lot of you guys have still been reaching out to me even during my hiatus for prayer requests, just to talk, through your own issues, things like that. I am still here. I do want to point that out. I haven't gone anywhere, although I have been going away from social media for a while. I'm still here. So I love and appreciate you guys so much for just hanging in there with me, for sticking it out, and also for allowing me to share with you my experience, just to show you how God can transform you and how He too, if He could do it for me, He could do it for you. So I want you guys to stay encouraged, stay safe, and thank you for tuning in and for listening. I hope you were blessed by this podcast episode in some type of way. Again, make sure you share with your family and friends. Until the next time, my friends, many blessings and peace to you all. Love you guys.